like our southern border's open, and so the cartels.
Our southern border's open?
Yeah. We have over 3 million people a year come into the country illegally. So it's open.
Does that mean that it's open?
Effectively, yeah. If you can't stop 3 million people from crossing your border, you probably have a pretty open border.
Do you have anything to compare that to number-wise?
Yeah, so even 5 years ago, the number was down to about 2,000 people a day, which at that time was an all-time high.
Is it 3 million a year? Really?
Over 3 million.
I'm genuinely concerned because I believe that it was around 1.
It's not. It's much higher than that.
But
we have 1 million legal immigrants who come in per year, which is also a shockingly high number, completely out of accord with any other country on earth and any other time in history. But we also have many more millions of illegal aliens crossing into the border per year.
Illegal,
you can look it up.
Is a nice term, but I'm saying
it's
when
it
comes to
foreign national.
That doesn't mean that you have to use alien, kind of like.
Alien just means a foreign national.
Oh. I mean, in the term, if you're using like illegal alien and you want to try to that's like I don't want to say like incorrect because I know you guys get about like speech and like.
No, it's
I know
correct,
you guys get, but it's not like the term alien is kind of like I know you.
What's wrong with the term alien?
I know you talked about.
I'm not calling them ET.
I know you know. I'm talking. I know when you talked to Bronte, you mentioned how using the term fetus is like dehumanizing. I think using the literal word alien is also dehumanizing.
But alien doesn't refer to Martians.
Alien refers to those who are not like us, of a different.
No, it just means foreigner. They're foreign, so they're subject to foreign governments, and they're here illegally. So we say illegal alien.
Oh,
this is a more precise term.
You could also a more precise term would be illegal immigrant because they went through the immigration process illegally. You don't have to say alien.
They didn't go through any immigration process. That's why
they immigrated somewhere.
Right. So
illegally.
they're distinct from legal immigrants. That's
or
why
you
we don't
could
use that
just
term.
Say a foreign national.
But they're not, someone in Guatemala today is a foreign national,
funny.
but someone who's here who crossed our border illegally and stays in the country would be an illegal alien.
Quick lesson about like grammar and connotation, right? So like the term blacks, by our definition of what a racial category is, it is not incorrect to call somebody a black, but it is technically incorrect to call somebody a black because it's like that's a word that's kind of been used to.
Because you don't like the word. What about whites?
That's also a weird term. It's like segregation era terminology. That's why I don't use whites, I don't use blacks. You can say black people or white people. But if you were to look at someone crookedly after they said, oh, blacks, no one would be like, oh, well, it's just the correct term. Because terms can, just like the word colored is a correct term. Your skin color has color in it. White people don't really have color.
Well, it's funny because now the term is person of color, like people of color.
I don't
like that one either. I think it's very silly. I don't like that.
Yeah, because I think you can be more specific. But the broader point that the illegal alien thing is like, that the connotation of alien is like.
I think it's
you can give me the dictionary definition of what alien
I agree with you that it has a negative connotation. The reason it has a negative connotation is because it is a bad thing to cross illegally into a country.
No,
so they've done a bad thing, and that's why it has a bad connotation.
The reason why. Is it really a bad thing to cross illegally into another country?
Yes, it's illegal and unjust.
How? It's unjust to cross into another country. So again, it's funny because we're gonna get back on morals. If someone was like running from the cartel and they had like, it was a family, it was like some little girls, a couple boys with them, and it was a family that running across the border to escape from the cartel.
But that's not what happens. They actually, you work with the cartels to cross the border illegally because the cartels control the entirety of the southern border.
Yeah,
so
and
the exact opposite.
And the cartels run rampant within the countries as well. So if you're trying to escape the cartel, and the only way you can
you don't escape it by crossing illegally across that border. You have to work with the cartels to cross illegally across the border.
Do you think every illegal immigrant is working with the cartel?
Yes. Practically speaking, yes.
Oh.
The cartels control the entirety of the southern border. And so what they do is they pay off the cartels, and then they end up in a type of slavery.
After they cross over, do you think that they're still working with the cartel, or did they work with the cartel?
Yes. They owe them a lot of money.
They owe them a lot. All the illegal immigrants owe them a lot of money, and they're working with the cartel.
Yeah, they
can you substantiate that?
I can. That's how they end up in prostitution, which was how we got on this topic because of modern day sex slavery, or they end up running drugs, or they end up in other criminal enterprises for the cartels.
Well, first,
who do you think controls the border?
Firstly, do you think that prostitution is only a thing that is brought into America through the southern border?
No, but
like
it is
like sex slavery. Do you think that's only exclusively done by non-Americans?
No, of course not.
So why do we keep like making this assumption? Like, okay,
I'm not making that assumption at all.
I asked you to substantiate that every illegal immigrant that crosses the border is
working with the cartel.
Secretly working with the cartel.
Not secretly, it's often open.
Yeah, and it's funny because doesn't even need to be cartel. They can just pay coyotes who are trained at running people
coyotes
across.
work with the cartels?
Yeah, they
Who do
do.
you think they work for?
At times, but that doesn't mean that the people then work for the coyotes that then work for the cartels.
You think the cartels just let these people off the hook out of the goodness of their heart? They ferry them across
Do you think
the
that they
border?
have? Do you think that the cartel has a database of the 3 million illegal immigrants that come across the American border?
I think they keep track.
And do you
of
think
all of
they
them.
keep they keep track of them? They have more tracking. They have more tracking capacity than the United States government, who lost people's parents under Donald Trump when they locked them in cages.
When they locked them in.
They did. It's literally an image.
So when it comes to illegal aliens, yes, the cartels actually are better at keeping track of people. But two,
Than the United States government.
yeah, because the U.S. government just releases them into the country. But because that's an intentional policy of Democrats. But do you know what?
I'm confused at like how your worldview ends up like on its head. So it's an intentional policy of, was that kind of like Great Replacement-esque?
What do you mean by great replacement?
Like the theory that Democrats or political people are like deliberately conspiring to import more people to different
Well, they
demographics
say
in
that.
order
They
to-
say that they're doing that.
Who?
There was a major study that came out in 2004 that shaped the political campaign, even of Barack Obama, who described the coalition of the ascendant. You've seen columns like this in the New York Times by Michelle Goldberg about how the Democrats need to import more foreign people, and that will help the Democratic political coalition.
I don't think there's any source that you could find me out there that says that the Democratic Party has said that they need to import more foreign people. If you're saying that they appeal more to the values of of immigrants.
But on
they would want to. I think,
I've
seen this
on border policy.
Yeah, no,
they favor much higher levels of immigration and amnesty for illegal.
Yeah, they favor a lot more levels of immigration because immigration helps the country. That doesn't mean that they're saying.
How does it help the country? It raises rates of crime. It raises rates of dependency on government programs.
Whoa! First generation immigrants commit way less crime than native-born population.
That isn't true.
That isn't true. You want me to look it up for you?
Illegal immigrants?
Huh? Yeah. Any immigrants, illegal.
No, not any. Not any.
Any
immigrants.
and illegal.
That's the key.
Okay, I can look up illegal for you too.
Okay, that's good. There are some good studies to this effect. The Center for Immigration Studies has some good ones out there about how illegal aliens are significantly more likely to be on welfare programs when they come over here, and how illegal aliens are more likely to commit crimes as well. And this is especially focused in the border towns in places like Texas and Arizona and Southern California.
Well, I know that you brought up the welfare issue. Something about something about fleeing somewhere and you don't really have anything left could end up putting you on welfare.
But what are they?
Even then, a lot of times
You're talking about political asylum?
Huh?
Like seeking, like earlier you said.
Asylum is a completely separate process. But I'm saying if you're going to run away from your country and come to another country illegally, A, a lot of immigrants are hesitant in even getting on that point, and B, they still pay taxes through their wages. So
they pay some taxes.
I'm pretty sure there's data.
A lot of that's off the books.
I'm pretty sure that data out there suggests that they actually pay more into welfare that they actually get back because they're not. There's something about illegally being in a country that's going to not put you first in line to be under a government assistance program in case they, find out that you're...
No, it's not true. But this is why we have the concept of sanctuary states and sanctuary cities. This is why Gavin Newsom in California says we're going to be a sanctuary state. This is why New York said, please bring all the immigrants here, until the immigrants caused a lot of problems in those cities. So that all happens, and the Democrats are pretty explicit about it.
The Democrats are explicit about
favoring higher levels of immigrants
favoring
and
a higher level
amnesty for the ones here.
Yeah, so am I. Favoring a higher level
because it's politically
immigration.
advantageous, but it's socially destructive.
So there's a difference between.
It's also bad for the people who cross.
There's a difference between saying I want more immigrants in my country because I want to. We should appeal more to them, and they can help our country, and we want amnesty for them. There's a difference between saying that and saying we are going to deliberately import people to replace a white population. That's the great replacement.
What do you mean to replace? Like you're going to shove it?
As
kill
in,
the
the
white
more
people?
brown people that you bring in, the less they breed. They breed with the people in the country, and then the concept of whiteness gets like more and more deteriorated till there's not as many white people. That's the great replacement.
That's
what I asked you about. And you said, well, yeah, the Democrats are deliberately, and
they're deliberately flooding the country with migrants. That's true.
How?
By not enforcing their border policy.
How are they not enforcing the border?
Because Joe Biden allows 3 million people a year to come into the country illegally.
So then how many did Donald Trump allow? Because Joe Biden's immigration policy has been mostly similar to Donald Trump.
Not really. The numbers were much lower under Trump, and the numbers in the first months of Trump's presidency, illegal immigration collapsed. Now, 6 months out into the rest of Donald Trump's administration, the numbers started to jump back up again. But the reason for that is because the Democrats stymied him on building the border wall and stymied him on ICE deporting illegal aliens and made a big hullabaloo about Donald Trump putting families in cages that were built by Barack Obama.
Barack Obama did not build those cages.
He did.
No, he didn't.
He did.
There's a completely separate process.
He did. He
That
actually
literally didn't. That's literally just a lie. I mean, I think we can get away with lying when you couch it.
When
right,
were the
but that's-
cages built?
I'm not sure exactly what year they
was
were built.
2014.
They were not built by Barack Obama.
Well, he didn't physically build them.
No,
His
I'm not.
administration.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying that the whole concept of the cages being used to contain these migrants. By
I'm telling you when they were built. You
by
can't
the
tell
way,
me when they were built. You're just insistent that I'm not right about it.
I'm saying when you say that the cages were built by Barack Obama, first of all, I have no evidence that his administration constructed the cages. And even if they did construct the cages, they were not used as cages for people. You do understand that, right? The whole reason why the Democrats made a big hullabaloo about containing people in cages is because a bunch of migrants were coming across the border, and then the Trump administration were shoving them in cages. There was no distinction between whether or not they were applying for asylum, which the UN said that we violated international law on that front. You can roll your eyes about international law, but the process, because the process.
They're economic.
How do you know that?
Because we have 60 years of data on migrants.
So you
and
have
they're vast majority economic migrants.
No, yeah, you can say a lot of them are economic migrants, but you have no way of knowing that if you stop them as soon as they come across the border and throw them in a cage. The legal process that we agreed to on a national front is when someone is declaring asylum in a country, they go across that border, go to the nearest station, and they declare their thing for asylum, and then they get refuge while we await the process.
What do you think the cages are, though? It's not like literally a dog cage.
It literally looks like a dog cage, and they had foil blankets. You can Google pictures of it. You get sure they didn't throw them in a.
the cages.
Sure, they didn't throw them in a Rottweiler cage, but they threw them.
Yeah, but it was a
silver cages.
center because there were millions of
a processing center. What processing were they going through? They lost people's parents. They were sitting there. There were disease breaking out. There was foil blankets. There was really no element of process.
Just died under the Biden administration in the same issue. But of course, the media never made a big deal about it.
I'm saying, actually, if you've been paying attention, Biden has been having a lot of criticism about how his immigration policy, like I said, has not been that different.
I don't see the crying AOC photos like we saw under Trump. Furthermore, though,
do you think AOC is supposed to go to the border and take a separate picture under every president about?
No, I think it was a cynical ploy, and she wasn't even near the centers when she did it. She was outside of a fence and posing for a picture. But even beyond the processing of these people, there was a survey that came out from Fusion and Amnesty International, reported in the Huffington Post. So we're talking about liberal organizations. What percentage of illegal alien women and girls who cross that border illegally do you think are raped or sexually assaulted?
I'm not sure.
The number is between 60 and 80%, which gets to exactly what we were talking about when we were discussing the cartels. So this is a terrible.
In 2018, the illegal immigrant criminal conviction rate was 782 per 100,000 illegal immigrants, 535 per 100,000 legal immigrants, and 1,422 per 100 native-born Americans. That is double illegal immigrants.
According to which?
This is according to the Cato Institute study.
Well, it's Cato Institute. It's a pro-migration think tank. But what is their data set? It's libertarian. Where's their data set from?
Well, I guess they've conducted multiple studies on the topic of immigration.
Yeah. I'd just be kind of curious to dig into those data.
You can look it up. It's not even just Cato. I can find you another one. There is no data that you will find out there that says that illegal or legal immigrants commit more crime.
Well, I'm focused specifically on illegal here, and I think we could.
Illegal either. Illegal does not commit unless even if you count the one crime of crossing the border illegally.
That's a pretty big one.
Yeah, but you still don't get to the native-born population.
Yeah, of course you would, because then 100% of illegal aliens would have committed a crime.
Yeah.
But to your point, and this is where some of these numbers get a little fuzzy, which is why the data are hard to get here, they're not convicted because they're not processed, because they're operating outside of the standards of the law, and they're doing that because the political leadership in this country wants to keep them that way because they think it gives them political advantage.
I was looking at, I'm sorry, I apologize that I didn't necessarily hear everything that you said because I was trying to look at the Scientific American. I'd find you some other data about the crime statistics.
I didn't know they were immigration experts over there at Scientific American.
You can analyze data. They talk about, that's a sociological study. If you're trying to analyze the behavior of people and the likelihood to commit crime, that's sociological.
Look, I have no doubt that left-wing and libertarian groups want to make
Scientific American is a left-wing group now?
Yeah. Scientific American.
I guess if we're Delulu, then
editorial bias. It does. I mean,
you could go to Scientific American and you could take issue with methodology or debunk it. But if you're just going to say, well, it's left wing.
No, I'm just saying it does have an editorial perspective, which is left wing. But and it's kind of silly that.
Oh, the editorial, an editorial perspective where it's like what articles that you're talking about on like given topics. It could be, but if the data the data, then the data is
I think that's kind of my point, though, is the notion that Scientific American would be publishing a study on U.S. immigration policy and politics.
When you say someone
silly,
with Scientific American, do you think that Scientific American is just like we put a chemical in a beaker and then this is what we
Yeah, well, initially they were
Scientific
focused on natural science and not immigration policy.
Sociology is a science.
Well, it's a
or social sciences are like when you talk about statistics and how those apply to
by that standard, all of politics
observational
is a science,
studies.
So right?
Huh?
By that standard, all of politics is a science.